Nah, making a video. Yes. Alright, anyway, so it's on this whole, I don't know. I have to think of a name. Yeah, and then I have to keep it a secret so I can buy it, right? Rent it, whatever. Domain names. But something to do with this whole idea of creating a coliseum to have the battle of ideas in. You know, a process you have to go through and creating something like the perfect argument in the end, you know, some sort of truth statement that is impervious to rhetorical whatever, blah blah blah, and in the end get to this substantive philosophy that the current system just can never get to because it just keeps tripping over its political correctness. It's oh, everybody's entitled to their opinion kind of bullshit and all that kind of crap that just retards the conversation. It always obliges everybody to talk baby talk, that kind of crap. That is the nature of our progress as a human species. It's completely being stifled by people's obsession with candy, you know, chocolate, everything just being in, you know, little consumable pieces of tripe. Chewable taffy. I don't know how to, you know, how to. It's just so hard to describe just how inane our progress has been in this stifled environment where everybody's allowed to play, even if they don't know how to play. It's a Special Olympics. We've converted everything into some kind of Special Olympics, which is all fine and good when you're just when it doesn't matter. Okay, when it doesn't matter, then it's okay to have the Special Olympics. When you're deciding who's president, yeah, it shouldn't be the Special fucking Olympics. Shouldn't be. But anyway, okay. So I have, so the idea is that me and Pyrrho, so this is, I put up this little website thing starting and wrote some shit. And we'll need obvious fixing, and improvement and details and all of this crap. The idea is to do this Kickstarter thing, but no point in doing that until you have it like ready to go, because you only have 60 days to raise your money, and I don't even think it's going to work, and you know, so. But anyway, try something, try whatever it takes to try to get something happening. So at least I'm trying. Just do my part, and that's all I can do. Anyway, so it's donotgo.com/cc. With another slash probably would work. But anyway, so do not go. Go. Do not go. Not do not God, but do not go. Right. Well, I'll put a link on the other websites, but anyway. So it's just this. It's just a simple outline of what's starting, you know, and like I said, to do a Kickstarter, you want to have all your graphics and all your crap, and you want to make it really sellable, so this will obviously have to be hyped up to make it somehow interesting in whatever popular way it's supposed to be interesting, which just isn't my, I just don't have too much interest in that. So anyway, link in the description. There, it's simple. So yeah, so I have to, the hard part is figuring out which part of this can be done shabbily, you know, in some sort of cheap version, and then we'll work on the better version eventually. And so that's the part I'm trying to think about now. Is the idea is that there'll be different ways to process arguments, ideas, So something will be resoluted, whatever the subject is, whether it's abortion or antinatalism or free will, whatever, some philosophical nihilism, whatever the subject is. And then there'll be the idea is to have multiple ways of arguing, video and text, and so to create like a wiki page that can be edited by the two sides of the argument, attempting to isolate the important bits of evidence, present them concisely and persuasively, and call bullshit on the time wasters and the other nonsense that goes on in many arguments. So just cut it down to just make a quality argument, acknowledging the other side's points and responding to them instead of changing the subject, all of that kind of crap. But anyway, the idea will be to refine a text argument on both sides and then deliver that, present it in the form of a video, documentary, whatever, 15 minutes or less kind of idea. The two sides would present their documentary, and there would be voting and acknowledgement of weaknesses and strengths and all of that kind of crap, and editors, and so it gets a little complicated when you get into the editorial aspect of it, because the idea is to have the editors also on trial in terms of the quality of their contribution to rational argument. Obviously there'll be also the simple contributions will be easy. People who can fix spelling and do better, semantics, replace a few words here and there, make it zing a little better. All of that all has value also. But anyway, yeah, so the idea is to create a TV show, something consumable by the public. Real language has to be used, and to have this battle of ideas in some sort of bigger way, and which would include the ideas that we're living in a shittier than needs to be a world, because there's these selfish assholes that are just sucking the blood out of the human race for their own privilege, and to provide luxury for their prodigy. So it's a kind of even a racial and so nepotistic kind of selfishness. So it's even worse than just being selfish. They're selfish in a grotesquely bigoted way. Yeah, so it's bad enough to be out for yourself, but when you play that my kind are better than your kind game, that one we can definitely call them on. But anyway, that's all part of this argument that needs to be made. The essential argument that's what's missing in our culture is an ability for people to fight for what they understand to be right, to fight for values like fairness, to have some means to do that, to put their will, their wish, their desire, to live in a civilization, to work, to give it some sort of voice. Yeah, and to point out, to do some of what needs to be done, which is, the common man needs to be insulted a little, for his trivial obsessions, the money he squanders on his baubles and bullshit, his sports and his other waste of time, the stuff he almost encourages the little ones, the youth, to obsess about, and essentially it's no worse. I mean, feeding your kids sports is like feeding them lead paint. Should be called what it is: child abuse. The human race is functionally becoming substantially retarded. and it's being done mainly because no one has the balls to call what people are doing child abuse. they're you know, maturating them into believing that their intelligence has no value. And that's all that's really important, is how good you look or how good you are at throwing balls through hoops or some other bullshit. Anyway, I'm starting to make arguments that are better suited for the Colosseum. But that's the point. The point is that if you argue all of these philosophical ideas, they are going to percolate into some common denominators. And those common denominators are going to be, you're not going to be a great person throwing balls in a hoop. You're not going to maximize your potential. You know, you're not going to do the world any good. These are just truth statements that will be understood once it is understood what philosophy is, and once it's understood that there's more to being a human being than what feels good. Yeah, something like that. But anyway, that's all bigger picture stuff. I still got to do this little picture stuff of pointing out that there's these little tools that we need to make this work, and that we have to create a mechanism to create them and to sell them, to make it possible to generate the interest required to maintain anything. I mean, you have to have, people have to invest in it. And that's the end goal, is to create that interest and investment. Something like that anyway. So the idea is that you just got to start with these tools for creating an argument and presenting it. And that takes the time of both people who will construct rhetoric and people who have the artistic talent to edit and compose and get the best out of what content we can produce. Is, you know, we're not great actors, so it takes more work in the editing room to make these performances into something worth watching for the average person. Suppose you could do it all subliminally, you know, just a bunch of, you know, put a bunch of porn images in between every few seconds of my rhetoric, and maybe that'll work. But whatever, we have to do whatever it takes to do this is in a way that I would argue we have to keep our integrity where we can anyway. And yeah, I think it's all doable. It's just yeah, there's just no, you sort of need the money to do stuff, but then at the same time, like I said, you don't want to get the money before you're actually ready to use it. And then you have to pay all these, you know, people taking to cut things. I don't care too much for that. So I was even thinking of finding a way to do this where, you know, people could pledge money, and then when we found somebody that we needed to pay to do a certain project, then we would just have the donors pay them directly. And then there's no double taxation or any of that kind of crap. But anyway, that's a problem for a different day. So my first, I'm just basically soliciting people who would be interested in making contributions, people who know something about, like I said, the thing I want to do next, I think. So see, this is the tricky part, right? It's like you want to sort of have a system of password protections and account names and all that kind of stuff. But like if I just put up a wiki, you know, an open source one, I'm going to have to fiddle with it to make it so, or I'm just going to have to run it, different variations of it, because not the same people will be the chief editor, whatever that might be for each subject. You know, you don't want me editing the page for the people who are going to argue for, you know, unlimited gun rights or something. You know, because obviously I'm going to say every argument presented is retarded. So you know, there's going to have to be some kind of system to do that. So I have to find tools that we can. So if people know, you know, open source software that's really simple, some kind of simple wiki that's, you know, easily to screw around with, that kind of stuff, or, you know, anybody who just knows anything about these kind of things that might, you know, be helpful. You know, and then you know, we're probably going to need to do some annotating of videos that are made on these subjects, so people who don't mind at least grabbing quotes out of videos, something like that, you know, and just, you know, typing what was said in the video and a number of quotes with time codes, that kind of, you know, little, you know, some of the contributions won't be complicated and some of them will require some kind of skill. Obviously we need graphics and different things to make this all sellable. But I'm just saying, if somebody wants to make contributions, you know, volunteer, you know, have something to add, then great. You know, like I said, it's just not. I sort of have to build a demo, and then we have to kind of improve on the demo, I guess would be the idea. Make something really crappy that's almost looks like a golf ball or something, and then try to make something that's actually a golf ball, you know, whatever, that kind of thing. Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I guess that's enough. I'm just, yes, this is, you know, Revolution 968.5a. You know, keep doing this revolution thing and it doesn't really ever get off the ground, but what the hell? I mean, you know, it is. Gotta keep trying, right? I think anyway. You can't really give up. So, well, you can, but I just don't think you can and still be, still claim, you know, that you're playing a good game. So anyway, any commentary, insights, whatever, would be helpful. But like I said, the idea is to have the wiki, and then people do videos, and then we take all of that information and make something publicly consumable in terms of a debate kind of argument, and then it's voted on, and then there's cash prizes or something, or you know what I mean, there's some sort of reward and punishment that would be part of this whole thing, and the idea is to get something that has enough, you know, once you create some sort of, once you get it working, you know, then you can force the other people, the talking heads of the popular culture into, you know, they'll have to show up eventually, and, you know, then they can be properly dismantled and deconstructed and destroyed, and we can take ownership of media memes as appropriate. I'm just including myself in whatever the intelligent types, however you want to describe them, those who give a shit about the truth, instead of the people giving a shit about selling a book, and you know, just taking advantage of a bunch of ignorant bigots who will buy it, or something like that. Assholes and idiots that think you have the secret. Yeah. So anyway, that's the general idea. I'm just saying. You know, so we got so far. You know, I think this is doable. That's all I'll say. I just think it's. I mean, I thought Vlogerdome was doable, but you know, it wasn't. But anyway, I think this is doable. I think a lot of things. I just think if we put all this stuff together in the right way, something can happen. Let me put it that way. So I will be creating one of these toolbars that's exclusive to this page eventually. So this one's just got my videos on it. So I'll create one that people could probably comment on and do different things, and try to improve that also, because that'll be part of this whole thing, is the networking aspect of it. And it's just modular pieces so far, little bubble ideas, and they haven't really been turned into, they haven't been put into their exact location yet and exactly how this is going to happen yet. So it's in process. So any feedback would be appreciated mostly, except for the stuff about what drugs I'm taking and all this other crap that I don't need to hear from the silly assholes who are just demonstrating why our civilization is broken. I mean, they just validate my points constantly, and it's just, it's kind of amazing. You make a video about how too many assholes in the world, and then they demonstrate that, there's one right there. Amazing. I mean, you just sometimes wonder, how could somebody say something? Some of the stuff is just so vacuous. And then, well, there's always people that do this stuff, which is, these one-liney things. But state of this cunt. What the hell could that possibly mean? But you're just saying, yeah, so what, you're drunk or something? You go on a video and just type shit when you're drunk? State of this cunt. I don't know what that's for or against. It's the Adam Curtis thing. That's funny. The Adam Curtis, lots of retards showed up for that video. So, yeah, it's like this guy. Jesus, rambling psychobabble. I mean, you could quote one sentence of it, couldn't you? I mean, would it be too much trouble, shit for brain? I mean, he has a Dolly name, so, it's probably got some Buddhist theory or something. But you're just like, what value is that? Could that possibly be? So you're just persuading other people. You say it, and therefore it goes into their head, and you say, it's going to stick, and I don't even have to argue it. It's so cool. I just say it, and it sticks, and I don't have to argue anything. So it's just like, if a guy's fat in a video, I'll just say, fatty fat, and then people won't think of what he's saying. They'll just think about how fat he is. And I'm just so cool when I do that. No. You're shit. You're exactly the shit that needs to be. You've got a little smiley face. Isn't that cute? What the hell is that? I mean, really. I mean, if you're going to say something just vacuous, I mean, you should at least, like I said, it wouldn't be too much trouble to, even quote mine me. Even just quote like half a sentence and pervert it so it meets your purposes or something. But I mean, to offer no evidence for your authoritative opinion, I mean, that's just so fucking lame. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Goodbye. Let's see. Gary had a little crushy crush. I'm not gay for, I don't know what video that was. But, whatever. And there's, you haven't made any case that Trump is a lunatic. The video is titled, okay, based on competing people's other perception. I'm critiquing their critique of somebody else's critique. I wasn't, in fact, critiquing Trump. I was critiquing the people critiquing somebody else who critiqued Trump. So you can't even get that right, shithead. My video wasn't intended to make that case. My video was intended to make the case that this other video was perfectly rational, and this video critiquing it was just quote mining and a cheap argument. You presented maybe one point of evidence. Well, again, I wasn't trying to present points of evidence. I was just defending the fact that the smart guy's opinion was pretty well defended. Idiot. That might support your belief. It's obvious, and calling him an imbecile are not arguments. Well, I mean, certain things, when you say it's obvious and you point out the obviousness of it, well, that is legitimate. I mean, when you give examples of just how obvious it is, and then calling it imbecilic, again, is justified if you just point out that, you'd have to be an imbecile, factually, to get something so wrong. I mean, to think that we have some sort of urgent falling behind problem with our nuclear arsenal is imbecilic. To think that if you remove some sort of state border problem, you know, that somehow if you get rid of the border, whatever the border is, you know, the little sign that says you've now entered, if you take down the now entered signs on the roads between the states, that somehow there'll be all new kinds of commerce taking place is imbecilic. So see, those are examples of being an imbecile. And then you could just go on and on about all the ones in Donald Trump's personal life, which just go on forever. I mean, it's imbecilic to brag on a morning talk show about how you just fucked a guy speaking at the UN. that's imbecilic. So anyway, Trump never said he would put women in jail. The point is, he wants to. You can't not put women in jail if you criminalize abortion, and that's what people like Scalia wanted to do. So let's understand, Scalia wasn't for states' rights on abortion. He was for a constitutional amendment banning abortion, and that's what the little nutter that's Trump's vice presidential choice wants to do, and that's what the Sarah Palins want to do. That's their game, okay? And Trump is promising to do this for the Christians. He's going to sit there and sacrifice our right not to see a fetus as a holy object. He's going to sacrifice it on the altar of his pretense, his grotesque pretense that I'm on the Christian side, just because he wants their votes. I mean, he's lying to them in this grotesque manner. The Bible's my favorite book, you know, just to get their vote. He doesn't share any of their Christian values. And he demonstrates it in his life over and over again. I mean, you have him actually talking about his casual view of sex and his entitlement to it. Nothing about his conversation has anything to do with anything Jesus-y or repenting or doing any of that stuff in any real sense. I mean, he's totally insulting their religion in this grotesque, overt way. And he's just doing it for votes. I mean, you know, what's a grander insult to a religion? To honestly say, I think it's absolute nonsense, it's a silly fantasy, or to sit there and play a game like you think it's it's meaningful and substantive, and I totally get where you're coming from, when you don't. So anyway, no, you totally suck balls. No, well, you totally suck them, and then you lick them, and then you kiss them, and you fondle them, and then you put them on the mantle, and you pray to them. Retard. Anyway. So anyway, I didn't mean to do comments. Just like, watch the first few minutes of this and ask yourself if you are saying anything at all. Yeah, I made the video, retard. I know I'm saying something. I say right in the beginning of the video. The point I'm making is, hey, this video was recommended to me as supposed to being a profound statement on what it means to be alive in the 20th century, or first century. And I couldn't find that in the video. That's what I say in the first 2 minutes of the video, retard. You gotta just say, but you're really fucking stupid, Wood Thomas. Wood Thomas 1. Wood Thomas? Would Thomas suck balls and put them on the mantle? I think he would. So we'll just delete him, retard. Anyway, so I think the video is complete. Linked below, like I said, and I'll work on this shit as I have time, and I got so much thing. I really do. I am trying to do way too many things. You know, it's all winning the Nobel Prize thing, you know, unifying physics, and I got this, and I got the F-list thing, and you know, it's an awful lot of stuff I'm carrying at one time. And you know, having a way past midlife crisis, you know, losing all will to live. I mean, I got a lot of things going on. A lot of things. I really miss my real cigarettes. Anyway, that's a personal problem. Anyway, enough of a video. Sorry, it probably went on longer than it should have. I should have made it more, but got a long way to go yet, so this can be a little flawed to start. So there, I have fired the gun. Bang. Let's see if Pyrrho shows up and does anything useful and such, and we'll see what happens. So forth and whatnot.